Hi, this is Cherie Ray. I am a coach and consultant focusing on all things around the human experience. In this conversation, we're going to explore what it takes if you want better relationships. And who doesn't want that? Thanks for coming to the call. I'm curious before we get cooking about what you were curious about with this conversation. And if you want to just say whatever's on the top of your mind, I'd love to hear it.
I'm curious because I feel like in the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, I'm not able to, I need a better way of connecting with people. As far as I almost feel like I need to do a schedule to get in contact with people, um, because I just get wrapped up in my own stuff and kind of forget to call somebody, whatever. And I've never been on Facebook. And so I don't know if that was, something that affected me, but I just feel like now it's just a little harder to keep in touch with people.
Oh, that's wonderful. No, I'm glad you said that because nowadays people are saying, I love that you say you've never been on Facebook because a lot of times people are saying we're too busy just scrolling and thinking we're connecting with
Mhm,
people via social media that we're not having real connection with people,
mhm,
And so I think
yeah,
that's fabulous that you share that you've had that feeling and that experience and that you're not in the
mhm,
your world using that, not using that, but you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
Considering that as connection.
mhm.
Thank you. Thank you. That's great. Anybody else want to share? All right. So, wanting better relationships. So, this topic, I know it's very relevant going into the holidays when it seems like there are lots of people you might need to be around that you don't see very often. But then this conversation is also about the everyday people in your life, the ones you choose to be with, the ones you don't choose to be with or feel like you have no choice but to be with them. Maybe it's a work situation or proximity to neighbors or, you know, it there are people that come into our lives that I think it's so interesting when that we all are human beings having this experience. But some people, just when they walk in the room, uh, some sort of bells and whistles go off inside us, and we make a determination about these people. Maybe we have history with them, maybe we don't. So I heard this story the other day that really hit something very, very thick. That's the only word I can come up with. Very, very thick inside my being. Excuse me. And so the story was this person was telling a story that she noticed that her husband and her father were very similar. And her husband and father would probably, in certain situations, say the exact same thing. But what she noticed inside herself was when her father said it, it was cute and quirky. When her husband said it, it pissed her off. It lit her up. so so that hit something very deep inside me. It just felt like it hit something very thick and gelatinous. I don't even know why those words come to mind, but it hit something so old and so thick about what is that about? What is that about when you reflect in your own world and you look around and people being who they are, you can just, laugh it off, water on a duck's back, and other people, it lights you up.
I would think in that situation, there's something with her husband. There's some kind of history or something with her husband where it comes off, your husband versus your father. I would think, I could easily see where I would misconstrue my husband's remark. So different from my father's, but I
Yes.
had a very good relationship with my father, so you know,
Mm-hmm.
there's
Mm-hmm.
that too.
Mm-hmm. And I think the part being that the fact that it's not the words they speak. What I wanted to kind of point to is that situation, like if we want to have better relationships, what what we have to see is that the source of our experience of this relationship is coming not from what the person's up to. Okay. Now it's I'm not referring to people being abusive. You know, I'm not saying anything like that. I'm just talking about regular old relationships that you have or need are people you need to be in relationship with. How can we have an easier experience in those relationships? Okay. So if like the husband and the father situation, when you look at that and go, hmm, same words, same topic, a different reaction. One I embrace and think it's quirky, and the other pisses me off. It's like with these people that we have challenges with, it's a good idea to look at what you hold in place with that person. So say you're interacting with this person and something pings you. That's kind of what I call it. When something lights me up on the inside, I get real curious about that reaction. And luckily nowadays, if that ping hit me in the past, I would just look for the fastest exit sign and said adios. You know, I'm not. I'm out of here. That would have been my strategy. Would have been an exit strategy just to get out of here. But nowadays, like when something pings me like that, I get real curious. Not in a they're doing something to me state of mind, but I get real curious about there's something in this for me. There's something in this for me that I'm holding on this person, or kind of like a filter between me and this person. And what's in that filter that I'm holding to be true, you know? And to use our example of husband and father, I can I can only I can only look at it in my own experience of life, and I really can see that um, um, I'll even say the husband or the friend that you have really goodwill with, that you've probably let a whole lot of things slide if you have goodwill with that person. Now, say even if you see that inside you're having a reaction, like I said, and you get real curious about that reaction, and that ping is for you to show you something, not working against you, you can get real curious about that and kind of say, well, what is that hitting? You know, what's in my thinking about this person that I had this reaction to? And so I think it's like simple enough. We carry, expectations or definitions of people and how we think they need to show up in the world. And so these reactions that tend to cause us, our our reactions are completely based on what we're carrying in our mind about this person, and the right and the wrongness of this person. So that experience of irritation is coming from us, 100% coming from us. Like, I don't know. It's kind of like we don't allow them to be them, and then we see them as challenging. We take how they show up in the world very personally, and that's where it tends to create the challenge inside us. It activates something inside us because they're just being them. Okay? They're just being them, and they're either not meeting my expectations, they're either my mind gets real busy when they come in the door. Um, I think they shouldn't be commenting on what they're commenting about. I think they should read my mind. Maybe that's it. I don't know. But when you think about, let's just consider the challenging part of what is creating the challenge. If you really kind of reflect on that, where's the challenge coming from?
Where's the challenge coming from? The challenge is coming from me.
Yes, 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 yes.
There's no way it's about them.
Correct.
That's, and what's really funny lately is, so we have a wedding in a couple of weeks with our son, and he's getting married, and the shit that's come up for other people has been really interesting. Like what they want to tell me, well, oh yeah, and I can watch it and think, no, like, do they know people won't show up and they're trying to control it? Or just all kinds of stuff. And it's like a gift from friends who have no problem saying whatever they want.
Mm-hmm.
And I just hear them and I just think, I don't even respond to it because it's so unimportant, maybe, to me. I mean, I'm having more fun watching navigate the whole thing. I found that fascinating.
Oh, I'm finding it fascinating that you're not taking any of what they're I'll say the people that are contributing their
Right.
comments. You're not taking any of that personally.
Oh, no. Well, it's not about me. It's
But
like,
say more about that so most people can get that it's not about you, because it really is a choice point that you can think
yes,
it's about you.
yes. Oh, well, I grew up that way, thinking about everybody in my family and what it was going to look like and what you were supposed to do and make everybody happy, all that crap.
Mm-hmm.
And I just finally decided that that those thoughts just need to go their way, because that's not true. None of that is true, that I'm responsible for anybody else's happiness.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean I'm not pleasant or but I'm not responsible for their ultimate choices. That's what it is.
That shows kind of like the the reaction of the thinker, you know what I mean, that the options available to the person that is um that we're in these relationships with,
Yes.
whether it's a work relationship, family, it's like whatever people we're going to be around, it's that how they show up in the world really has nothing to do with you, just like
No.
you're talking about.
Right.
And if you really see that how these people are showing up in the world has nothing to do with you, the the moniker of challenge falls away.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's like you don't even think about it anymore.
You don't even think about it anymore. It's somehow challenging relationships are just not challenging because it doesn't have anything to do with you. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't. And so what you're explaining so much, I think, especially in a wedding situation where weddings and funerals tend to not bring out, they tend to bring out the thinking in everyone.
Yes, right. I think it does.
And they think it's worthwhile to verbalize their thinking.
Oh, absolutely. Because it's all
And the
connected to the
holidays,
past. Yes, yes.
weddings, funerals, on holidays, people always seem
Yeah,
to think they need to verbalize their thinking. And so the challenge falls away when you see it doesn't have anything to do with you,
right.
and that can be learned. I mean, it can really be
Yes,
learned.
yes, it can. And I didn't have an environment growing up where people didn't think that was true. They thought it was true that you can make somebody happy. Because I grew up with a first cousin my age, and it's like her happiness, I took it on. And I
Wow.
don't do that anymore. And I've reinstituted a relationship such as it is, but I can only do my part.
So are you saying that relationship was once challenging and now it's not?
Oh God, yes. It was
And
for me. I was always trying to apologize
and apologize for what, you think?
for whatever it was that I thought, for whatever it was that she took offense at, of which I had no idea. Oh, it was bad. It was just ridiculous. But that was a long
And
time ago.
well, it's completely innocent, but that's
Yeah,
what, like even in this conversation, it's that what makes sense to us to do, even labeling someone challenging, is it's so innocent that we think they're the problem, or
right.
we think they're how they operate in the world is the problem,
Well,
you
I
know.
thought I was the problem.
Well, true, but you could see that even in that I love what you're pointing to, that somehow, again, you took it personally and somehow you are responsible for someone
Oh,
else's
yeah. Yes.
experience of life.
I can prove it to you because I even have a picture of us when we were like 4 months old, sitting next to each other in a chair. And the
Hmm.
look on her face is so miserable. And I'm just grinning from ear to ear. 4 months old. So I've carried that picture around like that was it. You
Yeah,
talk about caught in a story.
no kidding. No kidding. That your interpretation of that photo
Yes,
and the decades that you carried that interpretation inside your own mind,
right.
innocently. I love that word because it's
Yeah,
so innocent.
yes.
It's nobody's fault, but gosh, that 4 months old,
That
that's a
word
really good
innocently gives me the opportunity to laugh at myself because I can
totally.
look at it now and think that was just the silliest thing. But I didn't know any better. Whatever, it's okay. I'm just so
It's
grateful I lived to be this old so I could get over all of it. I'm
well,
not taking this one to the next life.
yes, yes. And you know what first of all, it's like when we don't take responsibility for someone's experience of life and we don't take personally what they're saying to us because
Right.
they're basically verbalizing what lives in their head.
Yes.
And it,
Yes.
and that's completely independent of you because they're just giving voice to what they're making up to be true. Doesn't make it true. It just shows
Right.
you what lives in their head that they're making up to be true. And then you're not the source of what they think. You might be
No.
the subject line, but you're not the source of what they think. You're not sourcing their thinking, I guess is what I'm trying to say in another way. That
No.
no, you might be the content. So like that ping, that I was talking about earlier when we get these pings about these people where to use your example, like you catch yourself tap dancing, trying to get a smile on somebody's face, you know, or you take responsibility for their well-being, or you take what they say personally, like
Right.
like somebody goes, "Wow, are you pregnant?" Or if you just gained 20 pounds, you know what I mean? It's like that doesn't say anything about. You can see how easy that would be to take it personally, but it doesn't have anything to do with you. And again, if when you don't take it personally, it's not a challenging person. You let it go by, and maybe you don't right away, but I want you to see you have the option to let it go by.
That you have the what?
The option to let it go
Yes.
by.
Yes. You
You
do.
know what I mean? The more you understand it. So even if it's a work situation where these people, you know, I think it's kind of funny, where either people leave marriages or leave jobs because of challenging people. It's like
Yes.
all that may be great and true. I'm not saying do it or don't do it, but you might not have to throw out the baby with the bathwater if you get a little bit more curious about what's making this person challenging inside you and to,
Yeah.
to really look at it.
Well, my favorite response to that, if somebody's in that kind of situation, is the only problem is wherever you go, there you are.
This is true.
You're
This is
taking
true.
you with you. You think it's them. Wait till you get to the next one.
And I'm not saying you can't upgrade in life, but if you
Right.
upgrade with a conscious choice, it's very different than upgrading with a blind choice.
Yes. Yes. Well, under the assumption that it is about them and it's personal.
Mm-hmm. 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 Exactly. Exactly. And so I was thinking about too, as whether it's in a work situation, I don't care if it's in a family situation or a holiday situation. It's like if if we really get that every human being can, I don't want to make this sound too woo woo, but every human being contains the same life force as I do,
Right.
whatever that life force is, you know? And I think it's kind of like human beings are kind of like kaleidoscopes or something. Is that what those things are when you do this and the image changes? It's like, and it's like it's for the people that you come into that you know, it pings a lot of stuff in you, or you find them challenging. It's like if you really get that their life is being funded by the same intelligence that's funding your life, beating your heart, it's like you're really just seeing a, a few facets of that human being. And if you get out of taking it personally, or you get out of taking responsibility, it's easier to be curious about what
Yeah.
else is in that human being besides what you're seeing and besides what they're saying.
Yes.
You know, that there's more to be seen there if if you want better relationships. You see what I mean? So it's like, I think the starting point is to really ask yourself is, if do you want a better relationship with this person, or just I'll say even better relationships in life, because you're going to benefit from the feeling of it, the connection of it, whether they get on board or not.
Right.
You're going to live in a better feeling reaching out and connecting with people. It's or even making more connections. It's like when you don't feel like you have any rejection in the game, you'll speak to anybody.
Hmm.
You'll ask anybody to get together and do something. You'll say hello to strangers, male or female. You know what I mean? If you really don't have any thinking on it, and then that's where I'll say your life expands to more connections, because you've got nothing to lose, and there's no you have no thinking on it. It's not personal. You're just connecting with human beings and going through life. So your life expands. I love that idea of how a curiosity mindset is going to expand life.
Yes.
It can't, I don't see how it can't not expand life, you know, if you have no skin in the game. Any thoughts on that, or any thoughts on challenging? I love the idea of anybody want to challenge the challenge of a challenging person. I'm kind it feels like there's a gauntlet being thrown down. You know? Yeah, it's like, and you know, that's not to say you have to be around somebody you don't want to be around. You know, it's no rules. I love the idea of no rules. You don't have to be around them, but it's good to that those pings can be real opportunities to wake you up, just to wake you up to what you're holding, and all those concepts of right and wrong that we hold, that we have to really kind of take. I say put a stake in the ground and claim it, that that's what you hold to be right and wrong within your own mind. Does not make it a blanket for every human being and how they should show up in the world. Human beings that
Yes.
feel stuck, you know what I mean? Or they think
Right.
they're not willing to give up their story, their thinking, their whatever on a situation. I'll say, since we're on the topic of challenging relationships or wanting better relationships, I think that's another
Right.
great bottom line. Is like you gotta have your story's got to become porous. You know what I mean? It's got to become porous. You can't have your story solid,
Yeah.
carved in stone, and be mad that people won't uh, come to your story. They have their own
Right.
experience. You know what I mean? They have their own thinking, but it's like if your story, if you won't let your stuff be porous, or you're not willing to be open to giving up your grip on your story, nothing will change. And you will
Right.
find it no matter if you change the relationship, you change the career, you change the city, you change the country.
Right.
point. Where you go is where you're going to find all this stuff. Wherever you go is where you're going to find this stuff.
Yeah.
So if you want less challenging relationships, it's like I think that's a point that I love how it came up in this conversation about what if your story is just that, just just your view of things, but I don't have to fall on the knife of my story.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very, very, I love that. And anybody that you find challenging, you got a story on them, boy. Yeah. Yeah. But once you give up that story, the peace fills you up. It may not do anything for them, it doesn't matter. But once you give up, or not even give up your story, but be open to seeing something else, a willingness to see something else, in my experience, the peace comes into those places. It's not for them, all that forgiveness stuff. It's not for anybody else. You know, it's it's for you. I don't know that word forgiveness. I don't even kind of like it because it seems like I have to forgiving them has nothing to do with me giving up my thinking. You know what I mean? You see that the paradox of that is like, no, all I'm doing is giving up my thinking about them, and you can package it as forgiveness. I guess I really thought about that. That's interesting. Yeah, yeah. So in that idea of being curious about the many facets of another human being, and you decided you're going to be in relationship with this person, it's it's really, as I said here, kind of noticing, can you hold your center and get curious about whoever it is that you feel is challenging, because it tends to be uncomfortable to get out of your story and be present with someone to see something else. How does that feel to anybody else? If you have to, you like, you can't cut and run, or you're choosing not to cut and run, and you want to see more about this person that you're labeling as that you want a better relationship with. The discomfort of hanging in there until you could get curious. I don't know. Would that feel uncomfortable to you guys, or stretching in those ways?
And I think my difficult person is my mother. You know that we've talked about that. But it's hard to put myself out there, and and over I get the same result. Um, it's just like one story that sticks with me is when she took me to the dentist when I was however old, because I had a space between my teeth, and she wanted that fixed. It was just like a thing. And I remember she even said, I want you to find a good husband. That's why we were doing it. So then I was
Oh,
at
wow.
one, I go a long time without thinking about that. Well, when I was at her house the other day, she's looking at me really weird, and she just keeps staring at me, and we're talking, but she's not looking at me. And then finally she goes, come here. And then she licks her hand and she like fixes my hair. And then we go to the bathroom and we have to put some stuff on my hair because it's not acceptable. So all that other stuff came back. Like I'm still not palatable to her. Like,
Mm,
so I've started trying to really just censoring myself and saying, I can talk about these subjects with her, but I don't want it to be like that. I don't want to feel I have to put makeup on and make sure every hair is in place before I go to her house. I mean, that's where I'm trying to get that barrier gone of I am me and you are you.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And the
And
innocence. Do you feel like you need to meet her expectations?
sometimes I think I try to, just when I want something to go smoothly, because things stick around a long time after that happens, and you get the feeling that sticks with me like for a while. I can't just like drop it, and I can drop it, but it'll come right back. And and I'm trying to fix it, but I don't. it's more of a working with it instead of trying to fix it,
Mhm.
to find that balance of, or the right thing to say, like not getting tongue tied and just snapping instead of, and why can't in the moment I say like something very calm and eloquent? I don't know. But
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
not what comes to me. That's not what comes to me.
But I have no doubt you're better at those situations than you once were.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I just want to encourage you to know that you're in a much better place with those situations than you once were,
Mm-hmm.
and it's going to
Mm-hmm.
continue. You're going to get because you want to, it's like because
Mm-hmm.
you want a better relationship with her. I feel like you do in your heart, you just don't want to feel those.
Mm-hmm. I do.
Yeah. So in that place of, or you're, I really want you to see you experience those situations much better. You take them much less personally. They pass through much
Mm-hmm.
faster than they once did. They don't cause a Grand Canyon of Great Divide. So
No.
your reaction to them are changing, and that's because of you.
It is. I've noticed it's harder to get out there and try to meet people too, when I'm in that sort of a headspace,
Of course.
because I feel like they're going to be like that.
Sure.
So
Sure.
so sometimes I'll hibernate for months and then I was like, okay, you need to see people.
Yes, yes, totally, totally. And but I think too, it's like in that mindset, because like when you create, you're very daring when you create.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this will be really an expansion of that. Of when we allow ourselves to be very daring when we create, the
Mm-hmm.
translation of that is I have nothing to lose.
Right.
Okay, so like okay, so say you I'll say like just in the situation of meeting new people or um, looking for a fresh response to a repetitive pattern with your mom, wanting a fresh response. That same creativity is going to show up for you and it has. And the
Mm-hmm.
in that place of knowing you have nothing to lose, you're going to uh, uh, you're going to words are going to come to mind for you to be able to respond to her and just kind of keep on going. You know what I mean? Where you're going to start to
I think
notice.
so. I think I'm just a little impatient sometimes with it.
Oh, we all are. We all are. We all think we're not progressing, and we all think we should be doing better than we are. And that's, you know, again, the more we allow ourselves to be how we are, it that has a ripple effect too. You know, I
Mm-hmm.
mean,
And I
it
think
there.
really we're so behind the scenes, we are so much alike that I think that plays a part into it.
Mhm.
That she of course, as a parent, I'm not a parent, but I can say she probably thinks that, you know, she wants me to have the dreams that she didn't have and all that parenty stuff. But yeah, I think there's a lot more to it. I just need to be patient with it and
With
try
you,
not to.
I say with
Yes.
you, just compassionate and patient, going, you know what? And really to see how far you've come, going, man, she didn't light me up like she used to.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I'm on my way to being really the more you allow you to be you, the more lightheartedness kind of comes in and goes, her thinking my hair looks like
Mm-hmm.
it looks nothing to do with me and like, leave my hair alone. I'm going, come on, let's go get in the car, whatever it is. It's just like you won't even slow down to try to please her. You'll just know that's her and just in that place if you allow
I know.
yourself to be
And
her.
yeah, and it's gotten easier since like I've taken so much off my plate. I mean, and that so it's just time. That's all it is. It's just gonna take some time.
It is. Like I said, give yourself some atta girls for how
Mm-hmm.
much you take I'll say take in stride, but not take to heart. We would have at one time,
Yes, absolutely.
it would have gone like bullets or darts to our heart. And now it's like we take it in stride and go, oh, she just, her being her has nothing to do with me.
Exactly.
And everything you allow more in yourself, you'll allow more in her. Because like you said, if you feel like you really are a lot alike, it's like your minds get busy on similar topics. That's all that's happening.
Yeah, that's what it is. Thank you.
Sure. Any other comments or anything about wanting better relationships?
So as we're going into Thanksgiving and Christmas and you're with relatives and all of that,
Yes,
friends,
absolutely.
what, I guess, um, like if you're at, Thanksgiving and there's people and two people, don't click and kind of irritate each other, is it better to have, like if my, let's say my daughter doesn't, like another relative or whatever, is it better to have, not say anything or not ever have a discussion with that person? I mean, basically just let it go kind of a thing.
Well, I'm kind of curious. Is her challenge with them? What does that have to do with you?
Well, I guess, and I'm just curious, like if it would happen with me too, if it was a situation where I was with, someone that, you know, I just felt like, let's say I have a friend and with her, it's more of she just seems to be aggravated with people a lot.
Sure, sure.
But for me, I guess maybe like I have a friend who just in the past year or so, I just feel like she is kind of annoyed with me. Not, I don't know. I don't think annoyed is the right word. Um, I almost feel like I did something, or I just feel like she's distancing herself a little bit from me. So is it better to just let it go or, and just not worry about it,
Well,
or do you bring it up?
you know, I'm of two minds on that. Okay, my first mind says if I've done something to them, it's their responsibility to bring it to me. If I'm clear
Okay.
in my heart, I didn't do anything. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like if I didn't, if I'm clear in my heart, I didn't work with intent to upset that person.
Mm-hmm.
It's their responsibility to bring their upset to me.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I want to be real clear that I would have to have conscious intent to upset them.
Mm-hmm.
All right. If I have no, which that I don't have any conscious intent to hurt anybody, but I'm just saying in that
Yeah.
or upset them. But I also come back and say if me being me causes someone to recoil or go in an opposite direction, say maybe you've gone through a growth spurt. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? A lot of times, if we go through an inner growth spurt within ourselves, people that have been around us somehow it just are they don't their vibe doesn't like being around our vibe. That's kind of
Mm-hmm.
sounds woo woo-ish too, but you know, I mean, they can kind
Mm-hmm.
of like it's almost trying to push two magnets together. You know, they just don't go together. So I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if even in that situation you've had some growth or expansion in your life that for whatever reason that person is just not a match to anymore, possibly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I wouldn't. Does that land anywhere in
Yes, it does. Especially when you said, the conscious intent, because I don't think I have done anything, but the growth part, that definitely could be something about it.
yeah,
And
and
I
it's
like the
not.
fact that you said it's up to her to talk to me about it because that takes that responsibility off of me. Because I felt
Uh-huh.
like maybe I should be bringing something up.
No, but I think like earlier when in the innocence of taking responsibility for her cousin's happiness, just
Mhm.
because of, you're just getting a different vibe off somebody, and your mind, your own thinking takes it to you and says, I must have done something wrong because they're treating me
Mhm.
differently. It's like, that's so innocent. But in reality, you are not in any control of what thinking she carries in her mind about you. And the gift that you can be to anybody is to be fully you. Those that align with you are gonna come on board.
Mhm.
Those that don't will fall away. And and the more we grow, a lot of times people fall out of our lives, and we don't want
Mhm.
them to, but and still care about them, but somehow just not matching up. But it's
Mhm.
not something you did. You know what I'm saying? It's
Mhm.
that would be an example of taking it personally, how they're showing up in the world.
Mhm.
And when you take responsibility for your experience and not take responsibility for their experience,
Mhm.
you allow them to have their experience, and you allow them to
Mhm.
see have that they are truly responsible for their experience of
Mhm.
life. I kind of, Jennifer, equate that to like, because the mind thinks we have some control over an influence on someone else, like maybe if I tap dance harder, or maybe if I just, you know, checked in with them more, or something like that, it would make them drawn toward me, you know? And I laughed because I was like going, somebody could not in any way, shape, or form influence me to like sauerkraut. You know what I mean? They could tap dance, they could tell me all the qualities of it, you know what I mean? But nothing they could do outside of me is going to convince me inside my head that I like sauerkraut.
Mhm.
So it's like, no, no, no. You take responsibility for your own experience, and those that are a match will be drawn to you.
Mhm.
And you can love them the same. You can
Mhm.
love the same. And you can take them off your mind. I love that free will of you can love them the same and you can take them off your mind.
Mhm.
Does that answer or give you some?
Yes. Yes, it does. Very helpful.
Oh, good. Anybody else before we wrap up? Just to check in, see if anybody else has any comments or thoughts or anything that you might take away or have found helpful for you. Because as we go in the holidays, or after we, like you said, like we were just talking about, it's like, wait a minute, let everybody have their own experience and not try to fix it for them. Because it can only, their sauerkraut and is in their head about that person, and they're the only one that can clean it up. You see what I mean? If they like or dislike that person, that's the only thing. Don't stay in your lane. I think that's a real good point. Stay in your lane.
Well, I
That's a
remember
hard one.
something you told me a long time ago. You said that, well, it was with my dad, and it's just, and I was going to Thanksgiving, and you said, just go without any expectations. Like, and
Yeah.
don't say, oh my gosh, we're going to get into it. They're going to, you know what I mean? Or something like that. So I was just focused. I was like, pie, pie, pie. That's, just don't think about everybody's going to do what they're going to do. Just focus on the pie, you know,
Yes. 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 Not to
and not work myself
no,
pre-planning. Yeah. Not to pre-do it in
Mhm.
my head.
predetermine your experience. You know what I mean? Like when you
Yeah.
predetermine your experience, like, oh my God, they're going to be doing this, and blah, blah, blah. You're already deciding what the experience is going to be, and not and
Mm-hmm.
assuming. Most of the time, a lot of a human mind tends to go toward fear, which evokes the worst case scenario. So it's like, just don't predetermine it, and just like you said, stay as present as you can and stay out of any determination
Mm-hmm.
about how somebody's going to show up. Because what if they don't even show up?
Right.
You- You've already
Exactly.
dumbed down your feeling. Thank you for that. Yes, yes, yes. Don't decide ahead of time. Especially if you're one to go out and meet people, don't decide ahead of time that it's going to be fruitless. Don't do that, because
Right.
you, you might as well not go to the trouble of cleaning up and getting dressed up if you decided it's going to be a rotten experience. Don't waste your time. but come back to curiosity and just see.
Yeah.
I have nothing to lose. Let me just walk in here. I got nothing to lose. Wonderful, wonderful. All right. Well, hopefully that gave some pointers for having better relationships and seeing that where the challenge is residing, and just get curious about how you can put your story down. There's always a possibility. There's always free will to put your story down. So
I have one
yes.
more thing.
Great. I was just going to say, I see your hand up on the
Yes.
screen.
So what occurred to me after listening, which I love to do is listen, is that the more I can say to myself, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why people do what they do. Half the time, I don't know why I do what I do. If I'm not focused. And the more I can say, I don't know, I have a friend of over 50 years who I adore. Is our chemistry the same? Oh no. But it's worth it to me, to both of us, to stay in this relationship. And there's been a lot of growth and change for both of us.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we couldn't talk to each other, and sometimes we could. But I had to learn that I just needed to leave her alone. I don't know what's going on. It doesn't matter what's going on, but it's not about me. She thinks it's about me because she's in a different place than I am.
Mm-hmm.
But I know it's not about me, and I can hear it when I listen to her. And it's okay. I love her. What am I going to do?
No, I love that just what you're saying, you're just, whatever thoughts you're carrying, determinations you're carrying are nothing more than the momentary determinations. And that the fact you love her is the fact you love her,
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Yes, yes. And that you have a desire to be in relationship with her.
Right. And the more I can be totally me,
Mm-hmm.
the easier the whole thing is, the whole relationship with anybody. Because I don't worry about what people think of what I say. That's not important to me. It's like, if I'm clear and I'm going to put it out there, then, if you have a problem with it, tell me or whatever. But not anymore.
I think it really does go back that the more we allow ourselves to just be
Yes.
who we are and how we are in the moment, whether my foot is in my mouth or not, you know what I mean? It's really to me kind of a grace for myself just to
Yes.
be a person on the planet, put my foot in my mouth or not, or just and in that same allowing, there's, to me, the whole idea of allowing other people to be in their hiccups, just like I catch myself in my hiccups, and none of it's a problem, and none of us are defective. Just there's such an allowing of who you are as a human being in the moment, and then the next moment is going to be different. So what? So thank you for coming to the conversation about better relationships and what's involved. Some of the points I really appreciate that came up in the conversation was that the rightness or the wrongness of the so-called challenging person resides inside our mind. And that if we really want to expand our life and expand our connections, we can really lean in to listen and see what's this other person really about, other facets of this person. And in that, you'll really get out of your own mind about who you think this person is. Anytime we're curious, our life expands. Again, thank you for coming to the conversation. If you'd like to explore working together, please reach out to me at Cherie@CherieRay.com. We'll sit down with a tea or a cup of coffee and see what makes sense. Thanks again, and wishing you the best.